welcome to the pre-game hangout. These are the Dungeon Scrawlers. We're just talking about stuff.
And stuffing our faces.
Level 1 characters. I just like D&D Beyond where I could like type in a 1 and then it's like, oh, deduct. Makes life easier.
So you said Artemisia's strength did not decrease when she went down to level 1? Or
apparently
did?
Not.
Okay.
It didn't. So maybe one of the initial things was something I put towards it. I don't remember. It's really low. Ridiculously low. And she doesn't have the ring from Lilton anymore.
What's your max HP?
9. I mean, she's
That's
not
because you're dragon sorcerer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dragon sorcerers are a little tougher than other sorcerers, usually.
And actually, AC is not that bad, also because of scales. As far as like level 1 squishy spellcasters, she's got a AC 15, which is
not bad.
Not that bad.
Someone was asking the other day online about how paladin archetypes like oaths work. Since, until level 3, you really haven't sworn a paladin oath. You might be working towards something, and you might have sworn an oath, but it doesn't empower you until level 3. And that got me thinking that most classes have archetypes that you get at level 3, and all classes have something interesting that happens at level 3. Like you start developing more powers that differentiate you from other members of your class. But not all classes have an archetype that you get into at level 3. Wizards, for instance, get their archetype at level 2, right? That's when you pick what school you're going to specialize in. Warlocks get their archetype at level 1, which is where you pick, what pact you're making, right? I just thought that was interesting. And clerics obviously pick their domain at level 1 as well, right? Right? I haven't actually played a cleric, so okay.
Yeah. Something cool happens at level 3, but I can't remember what it was.
I thought clerics were level 2, but I don't know. I had a migraine this morning. I was saying so I'm mixing up a lot of stuff.
I seem to think that your low-level cleric was still doing her like Wrath of Stormlord.
I don't think she got that until level 2.
You do get to pick your divine domain, but you don't get to really do anything with it. Like you don't get to channel. Yeah, you don't get to channel divinity, and you don't get the feature.
Channel divinity only shows up at level 2. That makes sense.
Yeah,
but you start getting domain.
You know what you believe in.
Yeah.
And you get, the domain.
You start getting the domain spells.
Yeah, freebie spells at level 1, and your freebie spells and some particular, like as a life cleric, I think it gives me heavy armor. So, which surprisingly, as a dwarf cleric, I don't get heavy armor unless I choose life domain, which is kind of weird. But
heavy armor proficiency is not as common in 5e as it has been in previous editions.
Warlocks at 3rd level get to pick a pact boon.
Right.
Which makes sense because if you haven't made a pact, like how are you a warlock? So you really have to pick your patron first.
Right. And otherwise, you start getting patron. I don't know if there are any there are 1st level abilities that you get as a warlock that are specific to your patron, right?
You get so Archfey, you do get Fey presence on 1st level.
All right,
and you get access to the expanded spell list, which I never used Fairy Fire or Sleep for Cecilia.
Which is a bit like a channel divinity for warlocks, but you're not channeling a divinity, you're channeling a poser divinity. Pseudo divinity. you know, what I
Totally
mean.
different thing. And if I need to go on my cleric versus warlock rant again, I don't, because you can go listen to the recording of Champions of Lore where I already did this.
I was inspired today, thinking about people were talking good things about warlocks today, and I was thinking about Erin and her hard opinions about clerics versus warlocks, and I thought it would be fun to run a game where warlocks have just become so popular that they're starting to overtake clerics as the divine servants. And the gods are starting to branch into warlock packs rather than granting spells to clerics. I think that would be really funny.
The pack power comes from the plane, not from the entity. I'm going to scream this till I'm dead. It doesn't make sense otherwise. It doesn't make sense.
Well, here's a question for
do what you want at your game.
for chat, because I literally, well, definitely for 5e, never made a first level character. They've always been higher when I've made them. And I was trying to remember, my bulk of playing was in 3.5e, so it's possible I made a first level character, but I think it's probably not very likely. I wish some of those people were like in the chat now, because then they could like pipe up and I wouldn't have to remember this on my college group. But I'm curious, like, if most other people, their experience is that you do a character that's a little bit higher level at CareGen, or if you've mostly been like start at 1 and work your way up.
It's a great question.
It's mostly been start at 1, work your way up.
Yep, mostly been 1. But I've never had a level 1 character die, and that's not a challenge.
Yeah, this is giving me another chance to kill a level 1 Stong, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, well,
don't you want better things for your life? You already have killed him.
it's true. In like the most epic, memorable way possible.
I'm going to say, to be fair, Stong kind of killed himself by being too heroic.
Yeah, that's true. He went out in a blaze of glory.
Well, it's like a punch card or something. Like, once you have somebody's punched, like, you don't just get to like re-punch the punch. That's no fun. You got to move on to other people.
Hey, thanks for subscribing, Captain Kalo.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks. That's awesome.
I was going to say, these folks, that is the Dungeon Scrawlers, they didn't play first level versions of their characters because our session 0 was a fiasco game. And at the end of that fiasco game, they drew a card from the deck of many things that gave them all a bunch of experience. So when we started the campaign proper, they were basically already 3rd level.
Who drew that card? Because I remember whoever it was said, can we just spread this out so we're all start at 3rd level?
That was Stefan.
Was that Stefan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Classic.
So that was literally because of the fiasco game? Because I assumed it was just like we had the fiasco game and then you wanted to like deal with 3rd level characters.
No.
I mean
maybe that too.
That's part of it. I just think that 3rd level characters tend to be somewhat more interesting than first level characters. Like, you have more choices. You're starting to differentiate yourself from other members of your class, like we just talked about. But there is a certain charm to just starting out first level characters and killing rats in the sewers, that kind of thing. I was going to say that in my experience playing 5e, which is not the norm, usually I'm the DM, I think a good half of the characters I played have started at 1st and then worked up. I went from 1st to 11th once. I think that was the longest, biggest stretch of leveling that I did from 1st. And then the pandemic hit. Otherwise, that campaign probably would have continued.
Your background is tripping me out, Randy. It's like, well, because Yang Yang has the full version and then you have the like double version.
Mm-hmm. I edited it. I flipped it so it would be mirrored of his, and then I edited it because when we crop in for the actual show, you're not going to see the mirror edges. And I wanted to make sure that the blackboard and stuff were visible in the cropped in versions.
Well, Zoom's mirroring is misleading you because to us it's the same.
It's on the Twitch thing, they're different.
Are on the
yeah.
The magic of
one of you is
technology.
mirroring and one is not, and this is like
Oh,
you have to
it's-
guess which is the real the doppelganger.
It's because
something.
it's off of Yang Yang's, and Yang Yang is seeing his mirrored. It all makes sense now.
Whoa! Mind blown. Psychic damage taken. So
I know,
Um,
seriously.
I actually think so. Like something I'd like to ask you guys is like, having now played all the way up to level 11 with our characters. In general, like, what are your favorite levels to play? 'Cause-
12. You all went
Well,
up
we
to
haven't-
level 12.
Yeah, but we haven't
Yeah,
played
but
12.
we haven't really played 12
I,
yet,
I, yeah. All right.
which is good
I-
because I haven't made up my mind about.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think
yeah,
I
don't
kind of
know.
enjoyed around like level 8. So like level 6 to 8, I think might have been my
Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah, that seemed when like there was a point where I got, the big high level interesting spell, and like I think the very first one I got that was high level interesting was like lightning bolt or something like that. So yeah, okay. Obviously, so that wasn't quite as big of a bump in sort of my enjoyment of the character because I knew I was going to take it. But I think when I got maybe telekinesis, that was the
Ooh.
first like fancy spell that I got that I was just like, cool, let's do weird shit with this, man. So that was sort of whichever level I first got telekinesis on, I feel like was one I really enjoyed because I got to explore it.
Yeah, for me it was like polymorph. It's like, for similar reasons.
That's been an amazing. You've done some
Mm.
amazing things with that for sure.
I've had fun. I feel like anything that gives you that sort of flexibility to have like so much utility with like just one spell or one
Mhm.
ability is just amazing, and it's just so fun for creativity.
I've definitely like come to like appreciate that, like because I hadn't played in many years before we started playing again, and so and as a cleric, there's a lot of healing and bolstering spells, but like things like the calm emotions is pretty fun. But then now I'm starting to like play around a little bit more with like controlling water and doing other things that maybe open up some flexibility for fun and interesting
You,
situations.
as the cleric, cast healing magic? Since
know.
when?
Yeah.
I know, right? Like that's your bread and butter, right? As a cleric, but like yeah.
I play a
Um,
baby cleric in the other game, and she's a Tempest domain cleric,
Yeah.
and mostly Yang
Oh.
Yang does the healing.
Yeah.
Sometimes Roshni heals, but really she's a dragonborn, so she's like, I'm pretty sure you could. She's also 14. Pretty sure you could rub some dirt on that, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and the
Do
way
your
I
ancestors
heal,
some honor.
yeah, the way I heal is I summon a bunch of good berries and then
Yeah.
force them to eat them like one by one.
But since we're like level 3,
Yeah.
all we really need is a couple good berries.
Hey, my ranger cast cure wounds last
Oh,
night
that's right. Yeah.
on a wolf.
See, I don't need to do healing. I need to be electrocuting thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
For
My
the
favorite.
glory of
Yes.
Enlil.
Artemisia
See-
gets cure wounds level 12.
Oh, nice.
Like-
Oh
playtest
yeah, that's
content.
right.
The
Nice.
new feat.
Nice. Yeah, our I was gonna say our opponents in our in that other game that we're playing, they're always gonna underestimate us and get their tactics wrong. They'll be like, "Oh, kill the healer first," and they just go and attack Hiroshini, and she just blasts them, and then the rest of us come and do the healing.
You come here,
Mhm.
you do that what's it called? The Storm's Wrath or something. I forget
Yeah.
the name of it. If somebody
my
hits
God.
me, I get to electrocute them.
That was amazing.
It's quite delightful.
Yeah, last night we took out a troll, and he was very very unhappy that he messed with us. So
I did not make my stealth check because I wore plate armor. And Soroshini may be a delicate flower for a dragonborn, but that's not saying much. So there was no hiding. But so the troll was like looking at Zoroshni, but then Eric Self started yelling at it and shooting, like, which is making it confused. We got
yeah,
that surprise attack. I hit it really hard with a shatter, and then Yang Yang's druid threw down plant growth, so then it was going to hurt itself to run, and I just felt very
Spike growth.
effective altogether. Spike growth, thank you.
Oh
Mm,
yeah,
good
but
brain
it just
broke.
like it was so funny that Steven voiced that character as like a newsie. It was like a troll newsie with a really deep voice, gravelly voice. Hey, use guys.
The troll made fun of me for speaking with the wolves with speak with animals, and I was just like, okay, this thing must die.
I mean, yeah, trolls. I mean, I've never been a troll that I've actually successfully befriended. Sad times.
Didn't we? What was guarding that crypt? That you remember when we went outside the city the first time?
Thought that was a
Dumpling
giant.
came along. Oh, it was a
Mhm.
giant.
It was an
Giant of some
ogre.
sort. Oh, an
Actually.
Ogre.
ogre.
Yeah. So one of their pre-campaign adventures, they went out to find this crypt outside the city, which was being guarded by an ogre, and the ogre was not all that bright, but just kind of like, relaxed, just hanging out, doing its thing. And as I recall, you were either very diplomatic or very sneaky and convinced it that you weren't going to harm it in any way, and then just kind of bypass the ogre.
Yep.
And the ogre was like, yeah, have a good time. Check out the crypt. I can't really fit down there. So, and they went in the crypt. They fought some wights in the crypt because, fantastic.
Crips.
And then they heard sounds of battle from up on the surface again. And they were like, oh no, what's going on? And they get up and find this other band of adventurers has arrived at the crypt with the same plan that they had, except they just attacked the ogre. So the ogre dies, and the rest of the party of the dungeon scrawlers, and they get furious at these people for having harmed the ogre, who I gave a name. I don't remember what I called him.
I
but
don't remember, but he is very important to us.
That's the best. That's the best way to make your PCs like an NPC, is to give them a name and have them be, decent to them.
Beloved, what's his name?
Yeah.
Never forget him.
And
I
so
think I remember missing this and then having it explained to me, being like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, and then explaining how much damage like Kayla's horse did, because it was like some sort of man-eating, destructive like steed.
it just trampled them. It's not a big deal.
Oh, it's just murderous. My bad.
Yeah.
It was this sweet thing, this angelic winged girl on her elven horse, her beautiful elven horse.
I don't know that Dumpling was that beautiful.
No, Dumpling is a relatively normal looking elven raised horse.
I mean, I
and,
always
yeah.
and
pictured the-
Kayla doesn't ride Dumpling either.
Yeah.
Like Kayla just like patted Dumpling on the neck and said, "Dumpling, kill." The
Yep.
horse
Yeah.
and just tramples all the enemies.
Kill and
Hasn't
murder.
Emily said that Dumpling sort of looks like the Kate Beaton fat pony character.
Okay, I'm glad,
my-
because honestly, I was thinking that's what I pictured.
Nice.
Wow.
It was like a stocky little horse, like an elven breed made for like
Hmm.
battlefield murder.
That is not what I was picturing at all. Okay. I need to retcon my memories now.
Like built like a siege weapon.
Exactly. Speaking of the like pre-filming adventures, I came across a little bit of like language nerdery that I thought Aaron would appreciate.
What's that?
Well, because we in those early adventures we came across what we ended up calling the omnibus, but like so you have succubus or incubus, but
Mhm.
they don't have to pick a gender.
Right.
And I saw somebody sort of talking about that online. They're saying, well, the original words come from the Latin verb, so succubus comes from the Latin word to lie under,
Mhm.
and incubus comes from the Latin word for lie on.
Yeah.
But they were suggesting concubus because the verb is to lie with.
There we go.
So
I
we
like
get,
it. I like it.
concubine or whatever. So I was like,
Mm.
concubus. That is what I'm going to always think of now.
I do like that. I think omnibus is funny, but even when we say it, we know it's a joke. It's not what you'd actually. it's
Yeah.
not. It's well, like it's not correct for the Latin, but also there's no Latin in the Forgotten Realms. There's just things that are suspiciously Latinate.
Well, and I
But
had
I
too
like
much of a
concubus.
British like books that I read as a child. so I know what an omnibus actually is.
Mhm.
So whenever you say that, I was like, I'm picturing like the British double decker. Like that's not what an omnibus is,
Yeah.
but
I was going, yes, in olden times when Borders was buying books and you had a trilogy come out, then Borders would request the omnibus edition. And that's when you know you had made it. But
Yeah, I was gonna say I only picture fat books when you say omnibus.
it also means like it's what bus is shortened from, isn't
yes,
it?
yeah, the original. So if you go back far enough in sort of like British historical fiction, when buses first started being a thing, it was a shortening of omnibus. Like I don't know what words made it, but it was sort of like omni meaning like everybody getting on there, and then it shortened and we got bus out of that. So I think of like a really old style bus that people are riding.
Whoa, that makes me think of that one word from that Aladdin song, omniplume.
Nom de plume.
Nom
He's
de
saying
plume.
nom de plume.
Oh, I never knew what that was. I've been trying to figure it out for years.
I am
What's
so
a-
delighted.
What would an omniplume be? You just have all the names. Is that what that would
No, all the feathers.
be? Yeah, all the feathers.
I've been called every name in the book. I'm an omniplume.
There you go.
Real quick, I'd like to just remind everybody that we do have one of the Jumbo D20 giveaways going on right now. So if you peek over there in that corner, Teacup, the creator, will give the winner a custom Jumbo D20. So basically, you talk to her, you tell her like exactly what you want in it, what color. Do you want like little streaky lightning bolts? Do you want like glitter? You know, et cetera, and then she will help you custom make it. It's free for the winner, so you know, free entries. So please enter! Exclamation mark enter.
Definitely. Don't pass up that opportunity. Those are real cool dice.
Yeah, and we ship anywhere in the world.
We ship it.
Yep.
So,
I'm starting a new job next week.
oh yeah.
Ooh.
I'm going to be a content designer for Idle Champions.
Hey,
Nice.
congratulations!
Heard it here
Hey.
first. I just asked, like, am I supposed to tell people? Am I allowed
Wait,
to
it
tell
happened like
people?
right now. It literally
This is
happened
the
right
first time
now.
I have told people.
Wait, like somebody
signed
just
a
messaged
contract.
you right now.
No,
Just like
no,
oh,
right
okay.
before this.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I didn't say it on Champions of Lore, and I was like, should I have said it? Was I supposed to, or should I not tell people yet? Because it don't start till next week. So
Well,
they're
that's
like,
awesome.
no, you can say that.
Yeah.
Are they going to give you a disclaimer to say on the stream?
That did
Like-
not come up.
Oh, that's
I'm
funny.
technically a contractor, not a full employee, because they're a Canadian company, and that's
But-
how that works.
The views and opinions expressed on the stream definitely do reflect the views and opinions of Idle
Nobody's
Champions of the Realms.
Oh my god,
Nice.
suddenly all the content is going to become Westgate Irregular stuff. It's all Cecilia things. It's all witch houses and masks and
I was thinking it
Rashomon.
would be I wonder how much the nonsense that we do on Champions of Lore can be shoved in there somehow. Like the next
Oh,
quest
yeah.
is getting Orcus,
the
getting the
boombox.
Raven Queen to look out the window with the Orcus.
Nice.
How that's marching across the screen, I don't know, but
I mean a boombox familiar. If you could figure out like some way to
boombox
adapt
familiar.
like a fantasy boombox familiar, like that'd be pretty rad.
it would be delightful. This morning we were talking about living spells and magen, which is like people, like creatures that are made out of spells. It's like a sentient spell person that you can make
Nice.
as a wizard. And this led to me really wanting to say Megan instead of Magen, because I hate the way Magen sounds, but when I say Megan, it sounds like I mean Megan the Stallion. And so we got someone did a picture of a centaur Megan called Stallion the Megan. I posted it on Twitter, which I will retweet. I don't think I retweeted it because I just saw it, but it
I
was
love-
quite funny.
I love her song, Wet Alchemical Potion. It's pretty
Yep.
awesome.
Oh, that sounds great. So we have about a minute before 6:25. So is there anything anybody wants to add before we go to a quick break?
Omnibuses were horse-drawn before they were.
How many horses?
Nice.
All the horses.
I don't
Is it
know.
just two? Like a carriage?
Yeah. just horse-drawn omnibus. I'm right. I could tell you who it was. Baudry in France
Huh.
was the one who started it, because the idea is not
Hmm.
a new one, but he started the line that was called an omnibus. They're cars for all, omnibus cars.
Nice.
Oh,
Well, on that note, we are going to take our break. We will be back in 5 minutes.
So go away.